Hello. So I did something else that I haven't done in a very long time. I went out without a mask on, and that was not my choice. My mask broke. It actually started jabbing me in the nose right here. So I was like trying to figure out what happened. It was like starting to draw blood. So finally I took it off, and apparently there were some kind of metal things in an N95 mask that help give it structure or something like that. And this thing had like broken and it was poking me in the nose. So, like I told the Uber driver, maybe this is a sign from God that it's okay for me to take the mask off. So I went without a mask on. I hope I don't get avian flu. So I had my doctor's appointment today, and I found out some things. I was not well this week. I was very unwell this week. I had to take 2 days off from work, and I had no idea what was going on. And I found out they are run of the mill things that have been health issues for me for a very long time. They were actually not minor things. I had a migraine headache. That's what it was that made me like on the brink of collapse and vomiting and all that kind of stuff. It was a full blown nasty migraine headache that lasted 2 days. And I did take what makes migraine headaches go away. I won't go into that. And it worked. I told the doctor what I did, and it worked, and the headache went away, and that's what it was. It was a migraine headache. And the other thing, the thing going on that I went to the doctor about last week is a kidney stone. And I have a history of kidney stones. I almost died from it about 8 years ago, and they're back. I know the drill. I know what to do. Kidney stones are not nearly as big of a deal as they were 8 years ago. They are not nearly as big of a deal as they were 30 years ago. They are not nearly as big of a deal as they were in 2014. Every time is less of a deal. So I can take ibuprofen for it. They're big old fat horse pill ibuprofens, but they're ibuprofen. And that's what I was told to do about it. If you find that you have kidney pain that is unbearable, you need to go to the emergency room about it. That is what is advised on WebMD, and that saved my life because I almost died from kidney stones in 2017. I didn't want to go. My brother, who's no longer with us, um, he was like, "That sounds really serious. I think maybe you ought to go to the emergency room." And I was like, "Well, WebMD does say that I have to go. I hate to trouble everybody, but I guess it's time for me to go to the emergency room." And they were like, "You're in a renal failure, so you needed to go to the emergency room." And they kept me there, and I had to stay for 3 days. And they put a stent in me, and then about a month later they took the stent out, and they did a lithotripsy. They flew a guy in from Miami, and he's like this big, huge, very famous nephrologist here in Florida, and he fixed my kidneys, and I went from renal failure to like normally function kidneys. So I've had a few kidney stones since then, but they're not a big deal. They tell me to take ibuprofen for it, and the kidney stones pass. So that's what's going on. and the migraine might have been related to it. I don't know, but it's not cancer that I was afraid it was, and that was what I was really afraid of. And it's not a UTI. That was the other thing I was worried about. So, um, when you have stage 3 cancer, those things like flood through your brain and everything when you start having new symptoms and stuff. So, I got it checked out, and it's something serious, but it's not what I was afraid of, and that makes me feel much better. And I did some grocery shopping, and I got like normal, regular foods and everything, and I got some dairy foods, and I need to be really careful about that because there is a thing called avian flu going around. And with avian flu, and also this rocket scientist that we have in our Food and Drug Administration, you can't be too careful about that. You gotta be careful with the dairy. And so, just keeping that in mind, I'm not going to go out there and get raw milk or some kind of weird stuff like that. I've got to be really careful with that. But I do have to eat more dairy, and obviously I've not been eating any dairy because of I am lactose intolerant. I'm not like completely 100% lactose intolerant. I'm like 50%. So I've got to watch it after 11 o'clock in the morning or so. So I a really simple thing is like if you're going to use milk, use evaporated milk. That's a good way to keep from having problems. It's cooked and everything is pasteurized, and the I got some pizza. I got butter. Butter is really good for you if you have kidney stones, and I don't eat things like spinach and stuff. It's not good for you if you have kidney stones. On the other hand, the protein is a tricky thing because I just dealt with chemotherapy, and you have to have a lot of protein when you're dealing with chemotherapy. On the other hand, it's not good for you if you have kidney disease. So I've got to be careful with that. I've got to strike a really delicate balance with that. And so the key to it is butter. And oh yeah, I have a heart condition too. I forgot about that. So I don't know what to do on that and stuff. My blood pressure was good when I went to the doctor's office, so at least that's a load on my mind. Things were good, and I've kept the weight off that I lost, so that's good. I think a lot of it was bloating from the chemo, but I still could definitely lose some weight. I'm very short, and what I weigh is not what someone my height should weigh, not by a long shot. I was very skinny in college, and I weigh considerably more than that. I'm not happy with what I weigh. Um, but right now I do want to eat. I'm very hungry. And I was running out of groceries yesterday. So, with my car not running, that's an issue, and I have to think about that and everything. Is not something I've had to think about for a very long time, is planning ahead with groceries. And I allowed my sweetener to run out. I don't like that. I had to use sugar, and I don't like using sugar. It attracts ants. This is South Florida. There are ants. And I have mentioned I live somewhere outside of Orlando. It's somewhere. And I don't want to say exactly where because I don't want people doxing me and everything, but um, I'm very excited. I found out something that is maybe a good solution to my transportation issue. Um, Today, just by random, I was at Walmart and I noticed a bus, and this is a really viable solution. I was talking to some people that were waiting for the bus, and they told me all about how the buses work here. And there's a train apparently that goes into Orlando, and they told me all about it. I'm not going to remember all of that, but it's enough for me to remember what to look up online. And not only that, but it seems like it's faster than driving into town. So for that reason, it seems like it's going to work better than what I had been doing driving into town. Just all of it seems like it will be a very, very good solution to what has been going on, and I'm really happy about what I learned today. And this has put me in a really good mood. I'm just very pleased about it. Um, and just all of it has made me happy. It seems like it's going to fix what has been really upsetting me for a while now. Not being able to go anywhere other than to my local doctor. With I mean, Uber is expensive. It really is. It costs me over $20 to go to the doctor and come back. Just taking Uber. And I mean that's affordable, but if it had been an appointment in Orlando, it would have been hundreds of dollars to go there. Whereas this could be something affordable. Because even if I have to go over to where the doctor's office was, that's an affordable trip. And then add in a few dollars for the bus or whatever. It's something I can do. And all of that seemed like it's a manageable, what they were telling about how long the different rides take and everything. It seems like even if it's an all day thing and stuff, it's not like it's going to be 6 hours to get somewhere. It seems like it's not longer than what it was driving. So I seem like I've come across a solution to what was going on. So I'm happy about that. And I am starving, so I do want to eat something. I am just absolutely famished. So I want to get this uploaded, and you have a good day. And I will keep you posted on what's going on. Bye bye.